Hello, everybody. Tonight for WANA Live, we have something a little different. Not only am I missing my usual co-host, Damian Dressick, but tonight we have an advisory board member from WANA with us, James Charlesworth. How are you tonight, James?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I am a little flustered and overwhelmed, but so excited because even at the last minute today, we have added all kinds of new stuff to make this conference awesome. So
Yeah,
tonight we're going to talk to you. We meant to have Russell Shorto on this evening, but he had a last minute schedule conflict. And so what a great opportunity we have then to spend a little bit of time to talk about our upcoming conference. And most of our viewers know, because we've announced it before, that we had to sort of pivot from this in-person event, which we were all really looking forward to a virtual format. But last year we had a great virtual conference, and I know you were part of that, the planning of it, the executing of that. That was really good, right?
yeah. For anyone out there who has not enrolled for the for this virtual conference that we're doing, or if you were planning on coming to the live conference and you're not sure if it's worth it to do the virtual conference, you should definitely sign up. It's for the cost of your WANA membership. If you're not already a member, you get a full day worth of programming. I think we're doing like 15 different sessions. I think something like that. So 5 different periods with 3 sessions each, with just a lot of great stuff, a lot of great presenters, and you get to do it from the safety of your own home, which makes it really nice. I know, it was a really difficult decision to move from a live to a virtual setting. It was one that a lot of us agonized over. And I know, especially for Christina, who, does a huge amount of work for this conference in so many ways. But I really think that it was the right decision. I think we're going to look back on it and in the long run, be really glad we did it. Not only from a public health standpoint, which is obviously important, but also just from the standpoint of kind of the future of WANA. I think we're going to look back on it and be glad we did it, and took another virtual conference, and then maybe next year we can get back to the way it was in 2019, hopefully. But that's not to say that there will be the virtual conference is still going to be awesome. So we should put a link up for where people can register or something like that.
Oh yes, absolutely. We had a banner up that would flash across the screen, but of course we had to adjust it since we're not going to be in person. But what surprised us, and I think, as you know, because you were in on these discussions, was the number of people who, prior to really this Delta variant and other issues with COVID coming to the forefront, who kept saying, "Are you going to be virtual again this year?" Because we really loved last year's virtual conference, which surprised me because I felt that the whole world was zoomed out and, virtualed out. But it turns out people kind of got used to being in their own home with their own cup of coffee and their own tabby cat. You can't see mine, but he's here. You can't take your cat to a conference, but you can certainly hang out with him in your office or in your living room and tune in and learn something. I think, in addition to community, which is obviously really important to what we do as an organization, the conference gives everybody lots of new ideas about writing. It energizes people's writing projects. And I know your presentation especially is going to do that. You want to tell them what you're going to do?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to sort of reincarnate the session that I did back in 2019. So the topic of it is something that I think most fiction writers, a moment and a question that they eventually find themselves in, and that's the moment of, I finished my novel, now what? And it's really the session is planned for anybody who has finished their novel, has just finished a novel, or is working on a novel, or maybe is kind of, maybe even in the early stages of a novel, but is starting to think about that transition that inevitably comes when you are finished, and you have to take that step from being in the working on a novel stage to trying to sell your novel, or trying to publish your novel. And I mean, writing is such a solitary endeavor, and we spend so much time cloistered away in our writing desks in these imagined worlds we created, that when we finally come up with a finished product, it can be a little bit overwhelming to transition to that other side of being a published author, which involves sort of learning the practical steps to help you and your book arrive at publication. So I'm going to try and walk people through those steps of like deciding what kind of publisher you want to look at. So I'm going to talk about the different kind of publishers: traditional publishing, hybrid publishing, self-publishing, so-called vanity presses, and talk about all of them and the benefits and the downside of each of them. Because in a lot of ways right now, there's never been a better time to be a writer, because there's never been so many outlets and avenues for us to get our work out there. But that also creates a challenge, creates a lot of confusion and misunderstanding, and possibilities for deception, whether intentional and unintentional. And what I want to do is, I think it's really important to educate people on what the options are and what the different publishers offer, and what you should be looking for as you try to answer the questions of, do I want to try and get an agent? Is it worth it for me to get an agent? If I decide it is, how do I go about doing that? What are the best ways to come up with agents to pitch to? And then we'll also talk about writing query letters, which is the bane of any writer's existence, but is a necessary evil if you want to try and get an agent, which is the first step in sort of trying to get a traditional publisher in your work. So that's where I want to start with this session. It's something that I'm really, really passionate about, is making sure people understand what their options are and how to pursue those different options depending on what's best suited to their writing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I always am really looking forward to this. I loved the session in 2019 in person, which was great. And so it'll be interesting to see if we can make it work in a virtual setting. I'm already trying to figure out how I want to try to put it together. So that's my session. So
you enjoyed it so much that you stuck around and have been a volunteer for WANA ever since, part of our advisory board and trying to get things together for us to move forward, always the voice of reason. And I think you're exactly right that when someone writes a book, they spend so much time thinking, I'm writing a book, and then I wrote a book. What do I do with it?
Right.
And now things have changed so much with publishing. There was a time, I always use Steinbeck as a reference because he's the guy's work I know the most. Used to have, here's my book, and then they would do the rest, and you would maybe revise and edit and so on. But someone's cutting my grass, and
oh no,
the pollen is coming in. I'm like,
oh no.
Yeah, of course.
I don't have that problem because there's no grass here.
Like, oh my gosh, my eyes are watering.
I wish I had that problem.
You've moved me so much. You've moved me to tears. So I think, though, that times have changed so much that authors really aren't just writers anymore, but we have to become marketers. We have to become almost our own agents in some ways. Every publisher asks, what's your platform like?
Yeah.
Who are your people? What's your email list like? Are you on Facebook? Do you have other social media channels to promote your work?
That's something else that, time permitting, I'd like to talk about, is just like how you can sort of set yourself up for success. I mean, just I was never on Facebook. I was never on Twitter. And then when I got an agent, started trying to sell my book, the first thing that the editor that I eventually went with was like, you got to get on Twitter or Facebook. Now it's Instagram, but at the time, Instagram was not quite as big. But it's just the more if you're starting a book right now and you're not on Twitter, or you're not like on Instagram, you can do yourself a big favor by just getting on that and not only just promoting yourself, but really just getting in touch with the writing community online. Is a great way to start that.
And I love all my writer buddies that are on Facebook. I mean, I don't know what I'd do without them, but I have found that Twitter is really where it's at when it comes to writers. Like you said, Instagram is important because you have more, you get reels and photos, and it's just more, I don't know, lively. But so many writers and publishers and journals are all over Twitter that I feel like that the writing community is like in the palm of your hand in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can kind of learn the way the publishing world works just kind of by osmosis. If if you start following a bunch of writers, a bunch of agents, a bunch of like publishers, you sort of start to get that in your news feed, which becomes your Twitter brain, and you're just taking in information. And that's something that I might talk about in my presentation on next week.
Well, I know for one that Donna Zarilla says that she can't wait for your session, James.
Oh.
And we know Donna will be presenting. She's also a presenter with us, and she will be talking about representations of women in the steel industry and popular culture, which is going to be phenomenal. I will be presenting as well. I didn't intend to because I'm kind of busy doing other things, but I will be doing a presentation with Brad Mills, who is the president of West Virginia Writers, and we'll be talking about how, and this is another key thing to WANA, who we are as an organization, how partnering with other writing groups and writing communities just makes everything better. I think for years, writers and other people too really felt like, no, we have our turf. This is who we are. You can't come over here. But, we have always thought from the beginning that it was more about building a bigger table and adding more chairs than it was about, limiting the space. Because honestly, the more writers you get together, the more opportunities for those writers get created,
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, the writing community really is about community, and it's about forming relationships with other writers, because that's, the way that you help your own writing is by experiencing how other people do their own craft. It's a huge part of developing as a writer, and it doesn't all take place at your desk every morning when you sit down to write. It's about having that community to sort of not even like bounce ideas off or like read your work and respond. Although that's part of it, but it's just about experiencing the process that we all have to go through and sharing that with other people. It's surprising how much it can help your own process just by being a part of the community.
Well, that's how we create opportunities for each other as writers. People ask us often, how do you get guests for your show? Well, they usually come to us, or we know them from some other venue. Like they've asked us to do readings for them, or we've seen them at readings or on conference programs, or we just read their book and said, we want you to come on and talk about this book. So, it really is about relationships that people develop through all kinds of ways, but social media is one of them, especially during the lockdown. I don't know what we would have done without that being available to each other.
Yeah, and I mean that obviously is like, that's what makes in-person conferences great. Like the 2019 conference, like you were saying, I was a presenter at the 2019 conference, and then afterwards, you know, I was interested and I wanted to continue to kind of ride that energy. So that's why I stayed involved. But I'll tell you, last year when we did the virtual conference, just being from running the WANA Twitter account at the time, and like just seeing all the people who were sort of tweeting about it and sort of connecting with each other online, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, it's surprising how much of a sense of community I feel like was formed just in that one day that people were attending these panels together. I mean, it really left you with a really nice feeling at the end of that conference last year. And I'm sure it's going to be the same this year. I mean, it's a full day of just immersing yourself in a variety of different topics. I mean, the program, I don't know that it's finalized yet, but there's just a lot of, what's that?
It's getting there. And don't forget, we start WANA 2021 starts on Friday night with an open mic, and awards will be given for the best person who reads in each genre, and there will be judges for each of those genres, and then the grand prize winner will get a big prize, an editing package from an editing service named Maureen's Edge Books. So we're super excited about that. That's new for us this year. And then Saturday, like you said, we open with for our first keynote speaker, Richard Haig, a poet from Ohio, who will be introduced by Mark Harshman, who you know is the West Virginia Poet Laureate. And then we'll go into multiple sessions, concurrent sessions, readings, panel presentations, scholarly presentations, craft workshops, industry stuff like what you're doing. And this was just added today, and I want everybody to know that this is my baby. At 5:30 on Saturday night, September 11th, we will have a cocktail hour and a special drink inspired by Martins Ferry, Ohio poet James Wright, who is from the Ohio Valley. And you'll hear more about that. But come join us to kind of kick back and chat and talk in between the end of our concurrent sessions. And then, of course, our big deal whenever we have Sarah Elaine Smith, our evening keynote speaker, Jody DePerna from the Pittsburgh Current, will be introducing her. So we are thrilled. So what was that?
That was somebody with a motorcycle right out, or like one of those cars that like they make loud for some reason. So yeah. It was really right outside my window. Sorry about that, everybody.
That's all right. I didn't know if you were being attacked under your desk.
It was a bear.
It's a bear or not. Anyway, so we're looking forward to everything that we're doing, and I can tell you that all the volunteers are putting their hearts in doing this transition from face to face to this virtual realm, and it's going to be fantastic. And I think even if you're zoomed out, you can still come to whatever sessions you want. You don't have to stick around and watch everything and be a part of everything, but I think you'll kind of want to, because the worst part about being the organizer, the big time organizer of these events, is that I almost never get to go to the event. So I'm going to try to sneak in and out of some Zooms this time. So,
and our events are at the same time, I think, so I don't get to go to yours. I was disappointed to see.
What idiot scheduled that?
I don't know who did that.
Yeah, I think we know. Mea culpa, right? So anyways, I feel like, everybody should try to make it to at least some of our events. There will be another writing contest that will be ongoing during the day, a one-page contest, and the winner in each genre of that contest will appear online at the Watershed Journal. And then the Watershed Journal readers will have an opportunity to vote for the best of show of all of those. So we have a lot going on. A couple of scholarships. We've got the Mad Women out of Pittsburgh involved with us, and Carlo and Chatham are involved, and I feel like despite this pivot, we still have just so much, richness and good stuff to offer people who are going to tune in. And for $25, which includes a WANA membership, I don't know that you're gonna find a better deal than that out there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's the great thing about the virtual conference is the registration, you don't have to pay as much. There's no hotel involved. It's just all you got to do is join the association, and which you should do anyway. If you're somebody who's interested enough in it to watch the WANA Live reading series, you ought to join the association. I mean, you're clearly interested in writing, you're clearly interested in the region, and that's what we're all about. So I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, I went into last year thinking, I'm not sure how this is going to go. I mean, I knew that Christina would pull it off, of course, but I was like, well, it's probably not going to be as sort of intimate a feeling as it was to be there live. And I really did enjoy it last year. It was just a lot of fun. It was really active and engaged crowds. There were a lot of questions afterwards, and the presenters were great. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it and how much it formed that community, and it felt like I was really at a conference live. So, I hope everybody who's listening will join us. I urge you to check it out because it's going to be awesome. Friday night and Saturday, a full day of programming on Saturday. So I hope to see you there.
Yeah. So if you haven't, had a chance to go, I will be posting the latest version of the program on our website soon. Those of you who are registered, check your email over the next several days because there will be links to everything so you can access all of the wonderful presentations. Has our conference chair joined us? I can't tell. Is he down there? Damien, are you there? I feel like I'm having a
second. Oh, look at that. All right.
I'm here now.
Okay. So, well, thank you for joining us for the moment. Do you have anything you'd like to add before we sign off tonight?
I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone at the conference.
Yes.
Other than that, I have absolutely no idea what you said because I couldn't get the audio to work on my computer for the last 26 minutes.
Oh, no. No. Well,
but I'm sure it was all great.
Trust me, everyone, I'm in charge of the technology during the conference, so that will not happen. So don't worry. I do feel a little like the red wheelbarrow sometimes, sitting in the hot sun, blah, blah, rain. But I think you all get it. Anyways, I'll see everybody, I hope, next week. But we do have a reader next week. Damien, do you remember who's on next week?
Not off the top of my head, Christina.
I don't either, but I know it's somebody spectacular because I don't think we have ever had an episode of this show in which our reader wasn't awesome. Even James, who's in here promoting our content.
Yeah, I was like approached awesome.
just coming up.
I didn't quite hit it, but
Okay, well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week. And if you haven't registered, you still have plenty of time to do that. But definitely take a moment to join WANA and see what we have to offer this year. I guarantee you will not be disappointed with the lineup in any way. So thanks, everyone. See you
next week. Take care.
Have a good night, y'all.